history bombs, I presume.
Ladies and gents, let me introduce, if you have not by now deduced, Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
Delighted to meet you all.
Though sadly for the Met, he's entirely fictional. This history bomb will unravel his mystery. To do so, we'll delve into history to meet the author who provided the toil, one Arthur Conan Doyle. Born Edinburgh scholar in 1859, young Arthur cultivated an adventurous mind. Fixated with Sir Walter Scott's Ivanhoe and detective books by Edgar Allan Poe. At school he regaled tales, but always shrewd. He'd only keep talking in return for food.
I'll continue my story, but make no mistake, I'll only go on and return for cake.
After school, Arthur trained as a doctor at the University of Edinburgh, where he encountered a brilliant professor with an extraordinary style of diagnosis.
Dr. Bell?
Ah yes, very well. Come in, let's see what we can tell. Your accent's Edinburgh, but quite refined, educated, dependable, the eldest of 9. Like scars on your fingers, cuts from paper, a passion for reading, fiction I'd wager. Your expression reveals these facts to be loyal, meaning I'm talking to Arthur Doyle.
Joseph Bell's manner of diagnosis fascinated Arthur and would later provide the inspiration for Sherlock Holmes. After graduating from Edinburgh, Conan Doyle's thirst for adventure saw him visit the Arctic and Africa as a ship surgeon, before setting up his own practice in the equally exotic setting of Portsmouth.
Good morning, Portsmouth. Here we go. Young Innes, any patience today? No! As I thought. Well, not to worry. I might as well write some short stories. Now, what if Joseph Bell was a detective? His deductive method would be most effective. He needs a strong name to set the tone. Sherringford. Ah, no, Sherlock Holmes.
The first Sherlock Holmes story, A Study in Scarlet, was published in Beaton's Christmas Annual in 1887 and promptly sold out. Victorian Britain was immediately intrigued by this beguiling detective, seen through the eyes of his indispensable friend and colleague, Dr. John
Watson. Holmes? We have a letter. We? Well, you're doing nothing better. A curious case, apparent suicide, but there may be more than meets the eye.
Surely this is police jurisdiction.
Ha! Police, come. We're off to Brixton.
Conan Doyle was soon attracting greater attention from the literary world and was commissioned by an American publisher, Joseph Marshall Stoddart, to write a second Sherlock Holmes novel. At a meeting in London, Conan Doyle was interviewed alongside another promising young British writer.
Hey Arthur, get in here. I love his style. Have you two met Arthur? Oscar Wilde. Now I want you both to write a novel for me. 40,000 words, £100, see? Now Arthur, your new guy, Sherlock Holmes. Good, stick to him. Let's see where he goes. And any ideas you'd like to convey?
The picture of Dorian Gray.
Sure!
This second Sherlock Holmes novel, The Sign of Four, was a highly curious tale featuring some rather peculiar characters.
Well, he's certainly dead. Something stopped his heart.
Poison from this exotic dart, and yet if that wasn't strange enough, round marks on the floor have been recently scuffed.
Round marks and darts? What strange people.
Clearly a one-legged man and a dwarf who is evil.
Clearly.
Following a brief spell in Vienna to train as an eye specialist, Conan Doyle returned to England and submitted 2 short Sherlock stories to the Strand magazine.
Your work has such excitement and flow, the best since Edgar Allan Poe. I'd like for more, they're most effective. Our readers will adore your great detective.
In 2 years, he wrote 24 short stories with iconic illustrations from Sidney Paget. That's a lot of stories, and his imagination was being tested.
Mr. Holmes, Inspector Lestrade for you.
Aha! Superb! Another cryptic clue.
What is it this time? More orange pips or another man with a twisted lip?
Now, Watson, Lestrade, what's your business here? To coin a phrase, I'd say lend me your ears. A quizzical case, but you're up to the task.
Is a straightforward murder too much to ask?
By now, the Sherlock Holmes stories were hugely popular. Conan Doyle, however, wanted to step away from his detective shadow and planned the unthinkable.
I spent too much time on London's detective. More important work has been neglected. And I can't say the Strand has not been generous, but I think it's time to put an end to this. But whom and where to stop the party? Enter Professor Moriarty.
It's you and me both, Holmes. If you say so, my brilliant, if hitherto unmentioned, arch nemesis.
Holmes! Okay. Sherlock's death was met with public outcry. City workers wore black armbands and the Prince of Wales was said to be most upset. Over the next few years, Conan Doyle pioneered skiing in Switzerland, played golf in Egypt with Horatio Kitchener, volunteered as a doctor in the Boer War and was knighted for writing about the conflict. In 1901, due to overwhelming public demand and on receiving vast sums of money, Conan Doyle brought Sherlock miraculously back to life.
I'd like to speak with a Dr. Watson.
Make an appointment. Thank you, Mrs. Hudson.
Haha, it is I! Turns out I'm fine!
Holmes, where have you been all this time?
I've done a bit of travelling since Reichenbach Falls. It's a long story and at times unbelievable.
From Sherlock to skiing, a life of adventure, going further than most dared to venture. Always one to challenge convention. In later life, fairies took up his attention. Writer, pioneer, politician, here was a man who defied definition. And who could predict our eternal addiction for this Portsmouth doctor's riveting fiction?
Did you solve the case? Visit Portsmouth to delve deeper.